Thomas and Friends, Wooden Runaway Originals, Episode 40, Serenity. Summer was coming to the island of Sodor. The island was serene, and everything was very calm. No more visitors would arrive on the island. One morning, Thomas arrived at the station. Edward was there with some empty trucks. "Hello, Edward. How are you today?" Thomas asked. Edward.
"Hello, Thomas. I'm fine. How are you today?"
"Good. Where are you taking those trucks?" Thomas asked Edward.
To the quarry,"
Edward said.
"At least Bill is out of the works. Working at that quarry for a long time is very hard," he said.
"I bet," Thomas said.
"Well, I've got to go, Thomas,"
Edward said, and he puffed away from Knapford Station. Later that day, Thomas arrived at the docks to pick up some dairy cars. Percy then puffed up. "Hello, Thomas. What are you doing today?" Percy asked. "Oh, nothing much. I just have to take these milk cars, or dairy cars, or whatever you want to call them, to Vicarstown," Thomas said. "Ah, I have to take these quarry trucks to Tidmouth." "Could you take them for me? It's such a nice day. I really want to go puff around the island and look around," Percy said. "Sure, Percy," Thomas said. So Percy was uncoupled from his freight cars. Then he shunted them behind Thomas's dairy cars. "Thanks, Thomas," Percy said. And then he puffed away. And then Thomas headed off to Tidmouth. Then Thomas arrived at Wellsworth. Diesel was there.
"Hello, Thomas. How are you today?"
Diesel said. "Oh, I'm good. How are you?" Thomas said.
"I'm fine. It's such a nice day today,"
Diesel said.
"Could you please take these empty scrap cars to Vicarstown for me, please?"
Diesel said. "I was headed over there anyway," Thomas said. "Sure."
"Thanks."
Then Diesel oiled away. Then the scrap cars were added to the back of Thomas's train. Then he headed off to Tidmouth with his long line of freight cars. Thomas soon arrived at Tidmouth Station. Austin was there. "Hi, Thomas," Austin said. "Hello, Austin. How are you today?" Thomas asked. "I'm good," said Austin. "I've got some quarry trucks to drop off here," Thomas said. "Okay, good. Oliver will be waiting for them when he gets here," Austin said. Thomas then shunted the quarry trucks onto another line and back down onto the train. "Hey, could you take this over to Vicarstown Station for me? I have a bunch of other work to do," Austin asked. "Sure," said Thomas. "I was headed over there in that direction anyway," he said. "Okay, thanks," Austin said. He then shunted the paint car into a siding and head off to get fine with it. Thomas then coupled up to the paint car and headed over to Vicarstown Station. Thomas was headed up towards Vicarstown when he saw a cow on the line. "Oh no," Thomas said. He blew his whistle a few times to get the cow to move, but it didn't budge. Well, rattle my rods, Thomas said. Toby then puffed up.
Well, that's where Farmer McCall's cow went,
Toby said.
Hello, Thomas,
Toby said. Hello, Toby, Thomas said. Oh, I see that you have the cow car with you, Toby said.
Could you take this back to Farmer McCall's?
Toby asked. Sure, Thomas said. Thomas's driver and fireman herded the cow into the cow car. I guess I'm ready to go, Thomas said.
Thanks, Thomas,
Toby said. Then Thomas puffed away to Farmer McCall's farm. Thomas soon arrived at Farmer McCall's farm. Farmer McCall was waiting on the platform. Hello, Farmer McCall, Thomas said. Here's your cow.
Thank you, Thomas,
Farmer McCall said. He then got his cow out of the cow car. Thanks again, Farmer McCall said. Bye, Thomas said. Then Thomas headed away from Farmer McCall's farm. Thomas soon arrived at Castrop Station. The sun was setting. He was uncoupled from the paint car. And then he puffed away. Oh no, I'm late, Thomas said as he puffed up to the station. He soon arrived. Sir Topham Hatt was waiting for him.
Thomas, where have you been?
Sir Topham Hatt asked.
You're hours late.
I'm sorry, sir. I had to take some trucks for my friends, Thomas said.
Okay,
Sir Topham Hatt said. You better get along back to your shed. It's nighttime, Sir Topham Hatt said. Yes, sir, Thomas said. Sir Thomas was uncoupled from his train and headed back to Farquhar Sheds. Thomas soon arrived back at the Farquhar Sheds. It was dark. Well, good evening, Thomas. What took you so long to get here? Daisy asked. Well, I had a lot to do today, Thomas said as he rolled into his shed. No wonder you're so late, Toby said. Thanks for taking my quarry trucks today, Percy said. You're welcome, Percy, Thomas said. Then the engines drifted off to sleep.